Hi, Navid.
Hi, what's going on?
How are you?
Doing great in beautiful Barcelona right now. So
A great
just
day in
enjoying time.
Barcelona.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been here for a few months, traveling, and was in Cancun most of 2015, and now in Barcelona for a few months.
So awesome. Wow. Well, let me just read kind of a quick bio into who you are, just for folks who don't already know your work. Navid Moazzez is a recovering law school student turned lifestyle entrepreneur. He has made a name for himself in the online business world as a leading authority on how to create, promote, and profit from a virtual summit to skyrocket your business and brand online. He's known as a lifestyle entrepreneur who is now living his ideal life, running his business from cool locations around the world. The current location being Barcelona.
The current location, Barcelona. Well, we don't know in a few months from now where I'll be. Maybe in Turkey, Australia, wherever, the wherever I'll go. It's just enough with an internet connection and, good Wi-Fi. That's kind of my struggle last year in Cancun. I had like point 0.5 upload speed or something like that, and now I have 30 or 300 download and 30 upload. So it's pretty good.
Wow. Well, that's a transition, right? But a transition in a
Yeah.
great way. So that's good.
Very good. Very good. I can definitely do more video now since I hopefully they see better quality video from all the interviews I do.
Right. So I want to kind of just start, if you can kind of give us a little bit more kind of flavor into how you got here, living the dream, working off your Wi-Fi and that sort of thing
Yeah.
in Barcelona. Where did you come from?
Well, it was definitely not always like this. I originally I'm from Sweden, and so kind of didn't have a lot of people around me growing up that were doing these online business things. There's a lot of startups there, but I didn't have that around me. My dad, he's a doctor. My mom is a teacher. So kind of growing up, it was all about, hey, you gotta go the traditional path, going to I mean, for an Iranian dad, they typically want your kids to go either to law school, to dental school, or medical school, or
Hmm.
become an engineer. So I had a
Hmm.
few options there, and I didn't get into medical school or dental school to my dad's disappointment, but I got into law school, one of the top law schools in Sweden. So I went there right after kind of high school. So I graduated with two high school diplomas, one from the United States actually. So I spent a year kind of abroad, and then coming back to Sweden, got that, then didn't know what I wanted to do, and got my kind of went into law school. It felt good for the first few years, but I just a few years in, this is not for me. I don't want to
Hmm.
do this. I don't want to be chained to a desk all my life. And then kind of the law school went a little downhill because I didn't really go to this class that much. Even though I kind of to my classmates, I always told them, "Hey, I'm doing this. I'm in. I'm taking my classes," but I wasn't. I went about 3 years, but it was probably like 5 years. I just didn't go anymore. I got into more to entrepreneurship, personal development, started reading books like Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So that kind of got my start into this, got my first mentor in 2012. Like that was a first investment. It was not even expensive, but it's just investing in myself, in my education, and procrastinate like a lot of people do, read 4 hour work week, which I did. And it was just like this transition. It was kind of a natural progression, like from one thing to another a little bit. But then it was a horrible moment in my life or my whole family when my brother suddenly passed away in 2013. It was in April. He was just 22 years old. And
It's
it was just
terrible.
very, very sudden. So I had procrastinated for a long time, told people in my network, my family, I was like, I'm going to start this. My dad didn't really, I had a lot of pressure from kind of my family to finish law school and do all these things. And then when I told them, hey, I'm going to start a blog or something like that, when I
Hmm.
kind of came onto those thoughts, it was just really, how are you going to monetize this? How are you going to do this? But I kind of, after my brother passed away, I realized I don't want to do anything I'm not really passionate about, I'm not really happy about. So I just decided to start this journey, documenting that on my website, navidmoazzez.com. Kind of got my start with interviewing Pat Flynn and a lot of other people in the online entrepreneur space. And then, one thing led to another. It came to a podcast, which, interviewed some more people like Robert Greene, Cal Newport. They also talk a lot about, their work. And I got a lot of ideas from them to just keep going because Robert Greene, for example, he said something to me that he got rejected so many times, like
Hmm.
onto becoming this world famous author, writing so many, New York Times bestselling books. And that really stuck with me. So I just kept going. My podcast didn't really take off. I, didn't have too many downloads, but I still built the relationships. But then I came to a point where I had to make money or really live on the street pretty much.
Right.
So I came to virtual summits. That's kind of, we are here now on a virtual summit. So that's kind of, I got this idea in 2014 to do the branding summit because I've seen a lot of health summits. They were doing really well, 6 to 7 figures. And I said, okay, this is a cool, idea to kind of, I'm already doing interviews. So why not do, this on a virtual summit where I can grow my email list rapidly and also generate money at the same time. And then from that, I spent a lot of time figuring this out because there were no programs like Virtual Summit Mastery or, any free trainings out there really. So I had to learn it. I had to sign up for a lot of summits. That's what I did. And then everything took off with that summit pretty much, grew my list with 3,000 people. That generated $20,000 in profit, and they just built some amazing relationship from that, and quit my job from that summit too, and moved abroad. So that's kind of the culmination to where I am today, and just keeping the momentum going. Because if I would have stopped there in kind of November, December 2014, they're like, oh, nice, getting more money than I ever made before. That was great at a time, but I kept going. I moved to kind of Mexico, and then leveraged that email list I built and just kind of developed a relationship with Ramit Sethi and other people in the space like Selena Su, and became the number one affiliate for a lot of people. So I kept kind of my business growing at the same time developing my own online courses. And now that's my biggest revenue stream for Virtual Summit Mastery and some other things I'm doing with clients and new courses I have coming out.
I want to ask a little bit now about, because you've mentioned it a couple times now, this idea of mindset. And obviously mindset is kind of a buzzy word online that, a lot of people think they know what it means and maybe think it's important, but don't really understand why. How has mindset sort of affected you in growing your business?
Yeah, that's pretty much everything I would say in the beginning as well, because I think from investing in myself the first time in 2012, I got a mentor. Actually, was just kind of finding a mentor in a forum I was kind of identifying myself with. I want to live this life. He lived in Colombia. He's a US person. He lived in Colombia. He was just running his kind of retreat there or something like that, and having some form of online business. But just like I thought it was cool what he was doing, so I connected to him, and then we talked about launching navidmoazzez.com already then, but I think he helped me a lot realize some things. Maybe I was not ready yet to launch something, even though I could have maybe been a year ahead in my journey, who knows, but maybe I wasn't ready to launch something in 2012. Maybe I had to go through this process, from one thing to another a little bit, but I did talk about launching navidmoazzez.com already, kind of my personal branding site in 2012, and then we worked a lot on the mindset. I think he was really good with that part, so I got that, and also reading some books around it. So I got this early, and also when my brother passed away, I had to really put this on test. Could I really push forward, from a horrible experience like that, turning adversity into something better, and then eventually into success? And I think that's one of the things that just kept me going. And I'm not saying that you need adversity in your life to just do it. You just need to think about that. You don't have it the worst in the world. I mean, there's people who have it worse than you. You just need to keep pushing it. You could be one step away from achieving your goal. And I was so close to actually giving up before my virtual summit, the branding summit, because I just pushed through. I was to my designer, I said, what if I don't get any sales? What if I don't get any people opting in? So I definitely had those fears for the summit. So that kind of went ups and downs. But I then thought back to, this experience with this mentor, and also my brother's, when he passed away. So I just needed to push through pretty much, because I've told speakers, I've told other people about it. So I had the accountability, and I would have looked really bad if I just, I'm not going to do the summit now because I'm afraid. I mean, what's that? So I just pushed through. That's the barrier. I mean, you're one step away sometimes from your big break. And in my case, it was definitely that way, because, when the day I turned in my resignation a few weeks, after I was laying in my bed in the morning, I was like, I don't want to get up today, but I did get up, obviously, and I did launch my summit. And then on the day, I actually quit my job. The last day was November 28th, a day after, my brother's actually birthday, which is pretty interesting. It was just a day after I quit my job.
Wow.
It was my last day, and I made $5,000 on that day. That day, I came in $5,000. Like, this is cool. And then the summit in total, I generated a lot more after that. But it was a good experience to just see that coming in. And during the same time, I was quitting my job. I was also getting the idea that I'm not going to live in Sweden anymore, because now I have a little bit of money. I didn't have like the savings from some banker who saved up like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had only the money I made from the summit. That's the only money I went away to Cabo with, around $10,000 to $15,000. That's all the money I had. And then in January 2015, I made $40,000 like from some promos. It was just a little bit lucky, but sometimes you earn your luck too. I think I earned my luck. So that's kind of how I see it.
I mean, I love that idea. You can earn your luck. So yeah. Tell me a little bit more about this idea of mentorship, which you've kind of, which I know you've talked about before, and you've really pursued mentorship in a few different ways, it sounds like. You've done it with face-to-face people guiding you. You've also done it sounds like, with, investing in basically courses or books or things like that. So walk me through sort of what mentorship has meant to you and how important it has been.
Definitely. It's super important, whether you can invest in someone to actually help you, like, invest in a mentor, or maybe just have someone guide you. If you can add value to someone, maybe you can even get maybe just check in with that person once a month or every other week. If you can add value in some way to this person, maybe you can help them in something in their business they need. I mean, that's something you shouldn't ask that person, hey, what do you need in your business? You should figure that out yourself. You see, you've been following them for a while, and then you can figure that out. So that's one way. I haven't really had that type of mentorship too much, but what I did in the early days, I just invested a few $100s. It was not expensive or anything like that, and have this person help me out a little bit in the beginning. We are doing totally different things now, by the way. It's not, I've grown, I think my business, and now he admires what I've done. Like, he really sees what I've built, and it's cool for him, obviously. He was the starting point, and he really helped me. I still mention him from time to time, and I really appreciate that. But then I've had a lot of other mentors, maybe specifically to what I'm doing now with like Ramit Sethi, Derek Halpern, like just following people like that, whether or not you can purchase their courses. If you can, even better, because then you get more of an insight in their circle. Who do you think they're going to spend the most time with? Like people who, freeloaders on their email list, or people who actually invest in themselves, actually taking out some of their money to pay for something they offer premium. And obviously premium things. So I have invested thousands and thousands of dollars in education. I think that makes a big difference. I have also been affiliates for guys like Ramit Sethi, and not always building the relationship directly with someone like that. He's an 8-figure, online business, entrepreneur. So he makes a lot of money, and it's like sometimes hard to get to that person right away.
Sure.
Obviously it can be a case study. A case study is a great way to be it. So I've been active in his community as well. But I interviewed his students. I knew what he needed in the beginning. So I interviewed his students, someone from the outside I've connected with. He worked for Amit, and then he connected me to someone on his team and said, hey, Navid can interview your students. And I did that. And then one thing led to another. I became an affiliate, and they're very selective with who they approach for their affiliate program. And then I did a few promos in 2014, did pretty well, a few $1,000s from that. But then I helped him like crazy in January. So I sent him about 32 or 33 sales, and getting about $800 to $1,200 per sale there. So that added up. And then I won his grand cash prize. So that's just added value to him on another level. So he saw, I'm pretty much sending him customers. And then he saw there was, even more worth to invite me to lunch in LA. I had that experience with meeting him in person. And he's really down to earth. So people put these people up on a pedestal. I think it's just wrong. Like Ramit is like a chill guy. Maybe I was a little bit nervous before, but like now it's just like it feels like a friend every time I meet him. Every time in New York, I pretty much meet up with him or something like that. Or same with other people. You shouldn't just treat them as an equal. They like that. They don't like to be, if you're a fan struck or something like that, that's not the way to go. I think that just I mean, then you're just gonna be one of his many fans, or another person on the email list. But if you're a person who take action, and I'm definitely can put myself in that category, I take massive action, I implement what they teach, then they will love you for it. They will because they need case studies. They also love people who are taking action. Derek Halpern, Ramit Sethi, people like that. They like that. And that's what I've done. And that can just deepen their relationship with extremely busy people who are they have hundreds of thousands of people on their email list, but they still pay attention to their audience. They still pay attention to their most successful students. And so that's kind of my tips for getting inside mentorship, even though it's not direct. That's what I call him, virtual mentor. I have not received any direct face-to-face mentorship from Ramit other than, chatting with him a few times. That's it.
So, I love the idea of virtual mentors, and I totally think that many of us have had them, even if we don't realize that they are mentors in our lives. So I love kind of that phrase. Are you, now in 2016, you're in this position where you are mentoring others, either through your courses or with other clients or with coaching. How do you approach sort of mentoring others, I think, essentially, is my question from what you've learned?
So what I do most of the time, I don't have any this mentor-mentee relationship with anyone. So they just ping me. It's usually in my courses. So Virtual Summit Mastery, for example, I have people there. So I have a top tier level. So they can send me emails. They also have some calls with me. So that's more like coaching or consulting, whatever you like to call it, within that level. So they pay a premium to get access to me.
Right.
And that's pretty much what they do there. Other than that, yes, if people ping me on my email list, they have a question, I answer, as much as I can if they have a specific question to me. So that's kind of what I do. But if I see maybe friends from time to time, I do give them advice if they have a question. I'm very open. Like even some students, they ping me on Facebook or Skype. I'm trying to be a very approachable person. And you have to say, as the bigger your audience grows and the bigger your business is, obviously you've got to have a line for where, with free and paid.
Yep.
So always give free information. But I think I have made it clear, people see the value in what I offer. Let's say with my programs, if I offer, no one is questioning this because it's my time. Most of the premium programs out there with $2,000, $3,000 investments, they're not getting any attention from the course creator. But I'm trying to have that, at least as long as I can do it. I will, have that approach because I know people will have questions, and there's always a segment of your audience, they are willing to pay that premium price. Maybe that could be in mastermind. So that's something I'm doing more now too. Small scale, I'm starting. I'm just testing this with my BSM students. So, everyone who purchases my program, for example, they can come to mastermind now in Barcelona very soon. So that kind of have that. So it's just small things like that. Maybe that will turn into something else in the future where I have a paid mastermind or something like that. I'm launching a big scale to my audience weeks ahead of time. Who knows? Because I have solid relationships. So maybe I can have that form of mentorship in person too. So that's something I'm looking into probably in the future. Do something like that. It's pretty exciting to me.
So what you just brought up now is really interesting, and I think it's something that any sort of anyone with some sort of influence that lives a life online sees, is that sort of idea of trying to find the boundary between people who will just ask you for things all day and want to pick your brain and take you out to coffee and do all that, and those who you want to invest your ideas and your knowledge in. How do you kind of keep that boundary or keep that sort of healthy fence up, essentially?
Yeah, so I see the people. I pay attention to people in my audience. If they're really specific with the request, I don't always think that Virtual Summit Mastery would be the fit for everyone in my audience. That's been my flagship program for a while now. So that's kind of, I understand everyone, they don't want to do a summit for some reason. That's okay. So I know some people in my audience, they might be interested in other affiliate programs I'm promoting. Or simply, they like my free content, which is fine. They can still implement that. Maybe they are really on a budget. Because we talked about this a little bit too, mentorship. You can, if you're really on a budget, what you can do? Follow an email list, if you're on my email list from Sethi or someone else in your industry, follow their email list and read some books. That's, if you're thinking about, I learned this from Rami too, actually. If you're thinking about buying a book, and you think that's going to help you, just buy it. Don't think about it. Because if you get one idea from a book, is that worth $10 or not? Probably yes. Yeah, $10 to $20, whatever. It's hard copy or Kindle. Right. You can definitely afford that. I think anyone should afford, to buy a book. And the book is there's years of experience in that book. And I'm just that's kind of what I mean, that's one way I send people. If they send me requests, I also can send them back to my free content in blog posts. Maybe they have missed something, podcast episode, or simply send them a book I recommend. Let's say I've recently, a while ago, I read Ryan Levesque's Ask. I recommended that to everyone on my email list and people like that. And just here you go, here's a great resource. And then maybe some people did get some of their questions, already answered from this book for a few bucks. And they also build more trust with me because they love that book, or maybe they love that program I recommended. So then they are more likely to also purchase from me. That's kind of how I see it. They just builds up this know, like, and trust factor over time, because some people, they just find you instantly and it's just they love everything you put out there. Some people, they need a little bit more time, and they might need 6 months, a year, maybe a few years. I haven't been around for that long, but I know people who have had email lists. I mean, they have had it for a long, long time. And they purchased, like, someone been on the list for 5 or 6 years, and now they purchase.
Right.
Now it's the right time. They procrastinate, some people. And maybe they could have purchased a few years ago. Maybe they weren't ready. But for some reason, now was the right moment to take action and take out their credit card to give them money. And I think that's just powerful, to take out money to pay for something, because you're more likely to get results.
Yep.
So that's why I'm trying to encouraging everyone on my list. I'm training them. I think I'll train them early to expect the premium for what I do, for what I provide to them. And that's why I've been able to charge like from $1,000 to $2,000+ for my programs, where a lot of people struggle with that. It was not just, hey, I'm going to charge $2,000, but I had promoted Ramit Sethi before. I had promoted Selena Sue. It was like $2,000 to $3,000 programs.
Yep.
So it was not a shock when I finally launched my program to like, okay, they're going to expect the best here. It's not going to be like this Udemy, like telesummit program, whatever you can, whatever they find. It was not going to be that. It was just going to be, and I'm also investing in, my students. I'm investing all the time to like improve things. I think my students are seeing that. They're seeing how active I am in the community, where a lot of other people, they are not. I'm just seeing what I would have liked from some of my people I bought courses for. I'm just trying to be that person who, just be involved in the process for my students as much as I can. And at some point, maybe my audience gets too big, so I have too many people in there. But when I have time, I always try to add value and just answer, questions in my Facebook group, and, even emails from people who just reach out to me.
I mean, I love it. And I've been so impressed by your course. I guess I bought it 6 or 9 months ago, and it was really, it's just amazing content, and the people you've been able to connect me with in order to put the, stones in place to make things happen have been really, really amazing. So awesome. I think your course is just fantastic. So can you tell us what you're really focused on right now and where folks can find you?
Yeah, for sure. I just wrapped up actually a launch for my program, Virtual Summit Masters. I've been really focused this year to do kind of my first 6-figure launch, and I finally did it. So that was exciting. Yeah, that was exciting. This is something I strived for, and that was my second main launch. So it can go pretty quickly. I just can share for the audience here. The first one was a small list of 1,500 people on the launch list, over $60,000 in revenue. And then I did one now recently. You haven't calculated everything, but it was for sure a good 6 figures from that, from a list of around 5,500 people.
Amazing.
So you don't need the most massive list to do a big launch. It just needs a very targeted list. So I just wanted to get that message across. So you see these numbers of people, 100,000 people. Sometimes you can have a small list. You can be more profitable than someone with a big list.
Yep.
So that's something I was really focused on, took all my time here in Barcelona recently. And now I'm kind of transitioning into, I have a new program called Connect with Your Hero. So working a bit on that. And then I have a big summit, coming up in the fall. So working on that too, but also trying to find a balance in this, because I was so focused now. So in the summer, I'm going to try to relax a little bit. And my summit is going to be live, for example, the next month. So I don't have to do any interviews in the summer, but it's going to be more work in September. Yeah. So I'm just thinking so I'm just doing it a little bit differently. Since I'm teaching about summits, I just feel that I want to just experiment a little bit, and I think it's going to be fun for me too, and not do it always the same way. I'm teaching my students, if they're doing the first time pre-recorded like this, and they have some live elements, that works fantastic. But I'm just trying the live model for my next one. So let's see, hopefully the tech works there. And so if you are interested in summits or just in following me in general, you can find more about me over at navidmoazzez.com, and also virtualsummitmastery.com/cheat sheet. You can check out the 7-step process. Claire went through there as well for
I did. I can't recommend it more highly. So yes, it was amazing.
So, awesome. That's what I'm working on. So we'll see. We'll connect more and see where I am next year for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here. This has been super valuable and I'm very grateful.
Thanks so much.